In the dynamic world of music and wellness, one figure stands out as a beacon of balance and resilience: Monee Perry. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Blueprints. This is a show where we're paying homage and giving flowers to those who have blazed a trail in their respective industries. And what better person to talk to than a legend in the music business? None other than Monee Perry.
Hey.
How are you?
Beautiful. I'm wonderful.
Yes, you are beautiful. Okay, can we get into the look? Okay, the pants,
Thank you.
the green.
Oh,
She said I'm here. Okay.
I am here.
You're here. Okay, speaking of being here, you've been here for a minute, okay? You've been doing the work. You just have truly how many hats have you worn? I mean, from being an on-air personality to a coordinator to a manager, there's so many hats you've worn in the music industry. I'm curious, how does that inform who you are today and as a leader, right? Like you're taking so many different elements from producing to coordinating, they all play a role in what's made you the professional you are today. So what is that like?
I literally was able to take my career experience and use it as a blueprint,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel like a lot of people my age, I'm Gen X, millennial. It was like, what was the one thing you wanted to do?
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do certain things, but I didn't hold myself in a box. There were times where it was a little scary. So working in radio for 8 years and then being like in that world, you're supposed to go into different
Yes.
markets and be a PD. They were like, you're leaving and then just taking steps backwards to move forward, you know? So, and it just has been able to allow me to use that experience to connect the dots in different ways for clients now, right?
For sure.
And then be in different areas and take the
Absolutely.
skill sets, whether it's managing teams, building marketing campaigns, building deals, and then just really paying homage to the learning and evolution process, right? I think when you're in it and young, you don't really see it that way.
Absolutely.
But now I'm really, really reveling in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, being a student, right? Being a student of the craft and always being willing to learn. Let's take it back to you and you're growing up in LA because you were LA native, Inglewood.
all
Okay.
day,
Let
up to
them
all the
know.
good.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And so having that essence of like the background of where you come from and you grew up literally around so many different inspirations, music, film, TV. What was your music growing up? What were you listening to?
So the music that played through my house was my dad, who was a jazz singer.
Wow.
And then it was my mom, who was about 30 years his senior, so in her 20s.
Okay.
So we were listening to Madonna, Whitney, The Whispers,
Yes.
anything on KJLH, which was Stevie Wonder's radio station and has been for years, right?
Yes.
So radio was like the soundtrack to my life and just music in general. And then there was church, right? Gospel music, singing in the choir. I played instruments. I sang. I work behind creatives because I was a creative. It was instilled in me. And then I'm an entrepreneur because I get that inspiration from my parents. I came home every day after school to 3 businesses on 74th and Crenshaw.
Wow.
Pre-Nipsey, we love you. The Crenshaw district and Black people and just building LA. Like we are really the backbone a lot of LA, and that story is kind of told, but it's not. So my inspiration comes from, this being Hollywood, but also being a part of Black Hollywood and Black culture.
Absolutely. So you had like the best of all worlds. You had the inspirations from your father's, what he liked to listen to, your mom liked to listen to. So little Monee was just like, listen, let me get all of these different inspirations. And so that's what I feel is so important to your story, is like that started at the foundation, the root. Like music
Correct.
was surrounding you, just having that, in your upbringing, your childhood. So when you made the transition to music world entertainment with Matthew Knowles, you working with Beyonce, okay? You're working with her at the beginning of her career. And so talking about, kind of honing that craft and getting that, really solidified and off the ground, what was that experience like for you? And also how did that build you into the leader you are today?
Wow. it was something that I really wanted, but I
Mhm.
didn't know what I wanted. So I was in radio and I walked around like I want to work closer with artists. Like I was like, put me on tour, like whatever. Like I just knew I needed to work closer
Yeah.
with artists. You
Yeah.
know, radio gives you the entertainment experience,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like you're a little far removed,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So I got to Music World, and within a day, I was doing $1 million A&R budget. And thank God it was this lady, April. And back then, it could have been like, I'm not.
Yeah.
She showed me how to
Yeah.
do it. Like
Yeah.
I knew how to do budgets, but I was doing radio
Yeah, you're like,
marketing
I'm
budgets.
doing what I
You know,
know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was an applied
Mhm.
skill. And then that was a different time. They were doing rentals. It wasn't no Uber. I
Yeah.
was calling car. You were everything. The
Okay, you're like
assistant
taxi.
that
Hello.
I had to call car service at. Oh, they up at 2 a.m. in New York.
Mm.
I was on a BlackBerry. It was like a
Come on,
different kind of
BlackBerry.
like
Hey,
it
that's
was
a
a different
BlackBerry.
it was a different type of life.
Yeah.
But just building that ability to multitask,
Yes.
to move around and travel. So I spent a lot of time in Houston at the big
Mhm.
house,
Mhm.
a lot of time on biz dev calls
Yes.
with Matthew Knowles and my
Yes.
mentor Max Goose.
Mhm.
So and taking notes, right? So when you're writing and you're typing, what are you
Absolutely.
doing? So just and then seeing how people dealt with each other, right?
Mhm.
And how they carried themselves. Um it was just a certain way that you did things,
Absolutely.
and a certain way that you prepared creatives to go out into the world. So
Yeah.
it was like, it was amazing. Like, you go to Houston, I'm at Frenchie's.
Come on, come on. Let them know. Let them
Texas,
know.
we
Come on,
at
H-Town.
Frenchie's.
Let them
I'm at
know.
church. We
Papado.
down pop up. That's my
Okay, listen. Papados will put me in a food cart.
no.
Okay.
People be like, that's where you want to. I
Yes.
don't want to go to Uchi.
Yes.
I like Uchi.
Yeah, it's
But
good. But
Papa,
Papado, it's a staple. When you land, that should be your first stop.
how about I'm planning a trip and I'm going into the Houston airport just to
Just to get the
go.
Papados. And then
So I don't
yep.
even have to deal with who don't want to go and then get one to go.
Exactly.
I'm
You
sorry.
know what you came for. Okay, priorities. All right.
So yes,
First
lots
and
of good eating,
foremost.
family,
Yes. It's just so community based. And just like, when you mentioned earlier, like kind of like playing different roles, people will say, oh, you take a step back. It's that craft, right? And being
Mhm.
willing to put the ego to the side and
Correct.
saying, I am willing to, hey, be a PA for a day or be a producer, but whatever needs to be done, I'm going to do it. Where
Mhm.
does that come from?
Wow. It comes from working from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, cleaning
Mm-hmm.
windows in the shop,
Mm-hmm.
having a pool party, but my parents be like, you gonna have a little Hello Kitty stand over here. And I had this, I'm so sad I don't have this cash register, but like a 1920s cash register
Come
and
on.
people bringing their cash. So
Yes.
just having a hustle.
Yes. So you had the lemonade
mentality.
stand. You was okay.
That was my
Business
my
owner.
Hello Kitty stand was my version of, and my mom knew where to go get that back in.
Mhm,
So we was,
mhm. Okay, so you was an
just
entrepreneur from birth.
so and when
Okay.
you're an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
what you have to do, sometimes you're wearing all
You
the
have
hats,
to.
right?
Yes, for sure.
So and my family is like that. They
Mhm.
help each other. My uncles would help, and my family worked with my parents,
Yeah.
and so that I think breeds that. And then I started on a street team.
Yes.
So I
On the
started
ground. Yeah.
first female street team in LA, and then I was on like Summer Jam, Hot 90, Hot 92 jams, 92.3 The Beat.
Wow.
Those
Yeah.
flagship radio stations, that feeling of community of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning for
Absolutely.
radio remotes. So that allows me to work in that type of way.
And really being able to be like, listen, teamwork makes the dream work, but at the same time, being able to say, hey, it's okay. I know this isn't what, my on the call sheet today, but I'm willing to put this on because I know the job needs to be done.
Correct.
And so that's really, really, really something that I really admire about your journey. And speaking of entrepreneurship, you created your own company, Monee Perry Inc. I mean, talk about entrepreneurship and what was it like taking a step out in faith and saying, okay, I'm going to bet on myself?
That was an interesting time when I did that, because I've had various iterations of companies, as you can see from my bio. It was like I did radio. I was leaving Music World. I wanted to go to New York.
Yes.
I just remember being like, I'm going to put all of my contacts together. People needed like MySpace pages. People didn't really understand that they needed a website. So I kind of was doing digital marketing, but I didn't know that I was
What
doing
that was
digital
at the time,
marketing,
yeah.
but also like consulting. I was doing music marketing consulting, right? So I was really learning as I went. And then a project that I was doing, I was working with Little Fizz.
Mm.
And I had put everything together, and we got to travel to the East Coast, outside of what I had did with Music World. And I was like, I really got to move to the East Coast. And yeah, I was just really going and even now when I think about, I get that fear feeling. I'm like, girl, you did
You did
this
that. You
10
did it.
times.
Okay, you showed yourself every single time you did
No,
that.
but it
Yeah,
happens like that
absolutely.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
You
And speaking of being a black woman in this industry, right? That doubt that will come in, that being othered and, taking a step of faith and choosing yourself, you have those adversities coming at you. And I know that you are into self-care and kind of grounding and things of that nature. How, especially in your career, how do you stay grounded being a black woman? Well, all things are coming at you, right? Have your own company, you have all these different things and movements and always wanting to learn and grow. But when you have those roadblocks, right? Those things are saying, no, you're not capable of doing this, but you've showed it time and time again. You've proven yourself how many times, right? How do you stay grounded in an industry that oftentimes counts you out?
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I have just started practicing that
Mm-hmm.
the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that was ever something that was presented to us.
For sure.
Especially my generation. You go from intern to job, you getting married, you having kids, you not having kids,
Mm-hmm.
grounded.
Okay.
Maybe some therapy.
So what's that?
Right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm grateful,
Mm-hmm.
that I have friends that have moved into the wellness space, and it organically happened
For sure.
for me over COVID. And that means, yoga. So I started practicing yoga in 2017. When I lost my mom, and then was taking care of my dad, and then lost my dad in a divorce, and let go from jobs. And then that led to breath work. I've been grounded in the church in various ways from birth, but really leaning into my church home that I, was a member of in New York, but remotely, and just really getting involved in that and using my pastor as an anchor. So building teachers and coaches around me. So my yoga teachers, I eventually did 2 yoga trainings. My breathwork teacher, which allows me to really kind of go within and break through and release trauma that I've been through, some that I don't know about, and just really learn about myself in other ways. I think we've been taught to learn about ourselves in
Absolutely.
one way,
Absolutely.
so being open to that. I might go see an astrologist,
Okay, listen.
And then like a financial coach. So mindset
That
things, right?
knowledge.
Things that I was shown a lot. I was taught some things, but everybody did the best that they could, right?
Absolutely.
So how do I elevate myself? How do I go back, review what happened, and make some tweaks and changes? So that's how I do that. That's how I stay grounded. It's a process. It's a job in itself.
Daily. And you talking about like in the 90s, early 2000s, and like going through the industry and it was really like you did it. Like you just did the job, and there is no time for rest and self-care. So having this evolution over the past few years, and especially after COVID, people are taking more time to be still. And so do you think that kind of contributed to you saying, you mentioned it, but like, I need to be still. I need to, because it's when you're in an industry, it's like go, 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 go. It becomes a part of you. It becomes, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something. Oh, I'm idle today. I'm not being productive. But doing nothing is also productivity.
Correct.
And so how does that show up for you?
I think that what happened was I just started to see things in a different way, and not even realize that some of the situations that we're putting ourselves in are traumatic. Some of and some of the things that we've been through.
Yep.
To even get to this point.
sure.
So through work.
For sure.
Because
it stays with you. Yeah. It lives in the body.
So just seeing what I do from a different perspective, really valuing myself, and where I sit in everything, whether it's my marriage, my job, my relationships with my family. Like, I gotta work on me and put myself first. And if I'm not a good me for me, I can't be that for everybody else.
Absolutely. Because you're from career to, working for other people, pouring into your parents, pouring into your marriages, and pouring into friendships and everyone else, it's like,
Mhm.
what left do you have for yourself? So I love that you are taking, the self-care journey day by day, but I love that you're pouring into yourself in that way. And speaking of pouring into yourself, how, you're I see that you're strategic in who you work with in this part of your career. So working with someone like Sweetie, who is, this artist who's just come on the scene and just completely, okay, talk about West Coast, okay? She's gonna stand 10 toes down. What goes into your decision making of who you're gonna work with and what artists you wanna stand beside?
It's my work, and I'm so blessed. And every now and then I'm on LinkedIn and I I'll interview for something and explore those opportunities. But I've really been blessed with great mentors, people that believe in me,
Mm,
people that have seen me. So, Sweetie was organic. My
mm,
mentor, Max, who I worked with at Music World,
yeah.
who would watch me grow, in various spaces. We get together, I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm going to be a chef. There's various times where I'll be leaving the music and like, I am
Oh,
just
chef, come
like,
on. What you
girl,
making?
girl, when I'm not making. No, but whatever I was going through, right? But I was still,
Yeah.
I had been let go of my job, but
Mm,
he knew the skill set. He's like,
mhm.
I got these influencers, I got this girl. I was saying Sweetie. He's like, they were saying Saweetie. So I was like, Sweetie. So I met her, but it's been
Yeah.
organic, the things that I am doing and the people that I'm working with. And then, that was like, I wanted to be back in the mix, the feeling of
Yeah.
it, the feeling of what Max's vision was for this young lady and for the company felt good. I was empowered, it was a really, really good time, it was an amazing time to really even be first to market and set the tone for what we now see
Yes.
for female
Yes.
rap.
Yes.
She was a part of a
For
of a
sure.
something,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So and still is.
Absolutely.
So that it wasn't like, oh, I want to go work with the it just happened.
For
And
sure.
that's what I do. I'm leaning more into my intuition, into my gut,
Yeah.
into my feeling. Even now, people call me, they want to work, and we live in a world where everybody feels like they need
Mhm.
the manager and the this and the that, and just really trying to, build myself so I am a light for people and
Mhm.
that I can serve, but I can't serve everybody. And
Absolutely.
that we're figuring out how we help you with not just me calling, picking up the phone, emailing folks, how we're organizing ourselves,
Mhm.
organizing our mind, getting our foundation together.
For sure.
How am I helping you with your brand, your team, your tools, connecting the dots?
Absolutely.
I feel
Yeah.
like we live in this, we got to do everything now,
And instant
scroll.
gratification. It's like, no, things take time and work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been on.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
how I work with people. And it's intuition, organic relationships. I've been blessed, been in this music business since 1997. Like my relationships are through and through.
It's that saying, it's not on you, it's in you. Like when you
Correct.
get no's, when you get doors closed in your face, when you get let go, that foundation of who you are and your passion, it's like it's within you. And so when
Mhm.
you have your experiences of being told no's and having adversities, what advice do you have for especially for young women of color who are going through the industry, especially now when you have the streaming, you have social media. You didn't have social media in 97, thank God, right? You
Mhm.
didn't have it then. So what advice do you have for those who are either emerging into this industry or saying, hey, how do I make myself known.
Um, I say one, just continue to build yourself, how through a wellness journey, through a morning ritual, center yourself,
Mhm.
and I think that's the beauty of, a younger generation than me. You guys are learning how to center yourself,
Mhm.
so that to me is key. I think relationship building. I also think, and this is something one thing we do, we get in this, oh, we running around and we at events. Go back home. Go back
Mm.
to the grandmas, the aunties, the cousins, the family. It might not
Yeah.
be those people, the people that have seen you grow.
Who know you.
My people put it like this: there's only so many people that knew you as a baby,
Wow.
right? As you get older. So go back and remember yourself.
Mm.
Remember yourself. And that might be through that. That might be through like just remembering your journey. It might be reflecting on the week. I think we don't take enough time to reflect.
Absolutely.
Learned that from my pastor.
Yeah.
I asked him, how do you, he goes, meditation. There's a lot of different, he reads a lot. He goes, and at the end of the week, after I read and I marked up all these notes, my week is done. I just take time and reflect, not meditating, not
Wow.
just reflect. So I've been working on that. Let me reflect on what's going on, how it felt,
Yeah.
what happened.
Mhm.
So reflection, I think
Absolutely.
leads to introspection, which then leads to, everything else that's supposed to
Come on with the
happen.
word, Pastor Perry. Come on. Okay. I
Mm.
think it's so true because I find that like when it comes to work-life balance, I love what you said about going back home. Remember who you are. And I love doing that, going back home to Houston and being like, these are people, to your point, who've known me forever. They don't come to me wanting something. They love me as I am. And they know every version of me. And
Mhm.
so being able to immerse myself in that, sometimes get kind of like that work-life balance. How do you specifically, I know we've talked about self-care and pouring into yourself, separate the two, right? Like this is professional, but I'm also going to have boundaries and make sure this is my time. So if that means not having meetings after 5, if that means, hey, I'm not available for you to just pick up the phone because I'm spending time with my family, how does that show up for you as well as, your mental meditation practices?
Calendaring
Mm-hmm.
and really, how I can schedule something for everybody
Mm-hmm.
else. I start scheduling things for me,
Wow.
and sometimes it might look repetitive in your schedule, but my meditation and my breath work is scheduled. And if
Mm.
my day might be changing
Yep,
a little bit the next day, I got to rework that
for
because
sure.
I know what's going to work for me
Yes.
throughout the week. So
Mm-hmm.
scheduling the things that I need to schedule. That might be computer time.
Yep.
For me, that might be, okay, Mo, you have these things that are your vendors and what you're getting paid for now, but like, what about all the other things you want to work on? I
Yep.
think just organizing our time for ourselves, but also knowing you have to do everything else you have to do, but
Absolutely.
time management. And it's a daily, and then I also think too, taking cues and things from other
Yes,
people.
yes.
We don't do enough. I love the DMs and the texts and the group chats, but we have to do
Face to
this,
face.
that face to
Communicators. Yeah.
face. That I did this with a girlfriend last week. We got on the phone, we talking. I'm like, girl, I'm telling her how to tell AI how to rephrase. She's like, oh, I never looked at it like that. Yeah, I said, it's people out here just using it like Google.
Yes,
So
literally.
I said, no. I said, I don't use it like Google. I give it the
Mm-mm.
information I know and I have it
You tweak
rework.
it, yeah.
So that was just like, and that was one of many things that she was like, I never looked at it like that. Then we were talking about different things we're working on,
Yeah.
synergizing, energizing. I think there used to be more of that, just there used to be Tupperware parties and crystal parties and
Pampered
toy.
Chef, Avon, all of them. Okay.
Yep.
There was a whole era.
Yep. So even with that, that's what I'm working on. I got a
Yeah.
lot of different things I'm working on, but yoga meets pamper parties
Mm-hmm.
and, I do a lot of different things in the music space, but even wellness, there's a lot of music folks
So
in
many.
wellness
So many.
that are stepping out, so bringing those spaces to the forefront because the next generation needs people that are going to be open-minded and
For
clear to
sure.
help them,
Mm-hmm.
not rummaging through the fog.
Absolutely. Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Need it. Need it desperately.
And that's not about knowing what's in Billboard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's about
Internal. And I see that's such a theme of like this journey of y- not just discovering who you are, but being and loving, accepting who you are. And I love this saying. It's like if you name everyone you love, how long will it take you to name yourself?
mm, mm,
So when you look at your journey and you see how far you've come, you are the person that you prioritize. You're number one on your to-do list. Let me love on myself. Let me pour into myself. Let
mhm.
me make sure I know I love myself first.
Correct.
And so seeing your journey where you are, it's just commendable.
Thank
It's
you.
commendable. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here today. Thank you for just your light. You are a light.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for everyone that you touched and continue to touch and just grace with your presence. Thank you. You are OG in the game and we salute you. So
Thank you
just
for
keep
having
doing
me.
the damn thing.
Thank you for
Of
having me.
course.
This came from out the,
Yeah.
so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just happy to be here and grateful. And I hope what you're doing and what I'm doing and,
Yes.
inspires people. I really
Absolutely.
think that's it. we gotta talk more
For
and
sure.
tell our stories, and not the finished reel,
Exactly.
not
Exactly.
the curated TikTok. Some real
The raw,
truths.
vulnerable, being real. Okay, not a highlight reel. Being, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, you're doing it. You're
Thank
doing it.
you.
Okay, I need to join your yoga classes. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
If I mean, let's a
Private
little
on
namaste.
me.
A little namaste.
We're
Okay.
gonna do a private.
Thank you. Yes, please.
We're gonna curate
Yes,
a little
please.
something.
Okay, I need the playlist. Okay, I'll bring the music. You bring the yoga. All right.
Done and done.
Thank you so much, Monee.
Thank you for-
Appreciate you, of course.